Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
I'm having a crazy morning this morning, but doing pretty good.
I'm glad you're pretty good. Sorry it's crazy. How's everybody else doing?
Pretty good.
So good to see you. Thanks so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it and look forward to our conversation, sharing some thoughts and getting your feedback and reactions. I want to talk today about how to sharpen yourself. And I feel like this is a topic that applies to every one of us, no matter where we are. If we are doing extremely well and, things are going great and we feel, pretty accomplished at the moment and like, life is good and we are good and we are doing good and doing well. Or if we're very dissatisfied and excuse me, not happy with how our lives are going and not happy with how things are. And maybe we're depressed about it, or maybe we are confused or frustrated. This is something that applies to all of us. And these things I want to talk about, we can all do wherever we are, because none of us are starting at the same place. I'm in the same position. I think life is a journey, not a race. But if it were a race, it would be the most unfair race ever conceived, because there's not a starting line that we all start on. It's not a level playing field. And so this is something that we can do wherever we are. So I want you to think about, would you like to be sharper? Would you like to have a better life, an increased awareness? And would you like for no matter where you are, to be less dull? And that's what I want. I want to be less dull. And I feel like that I am far more dull than I want to be, and sometimes I'm more aware of it than others. But I think culture is set up to dull us, and that we too often are dulled by really every aspect of life, or can be. Think about the noise. Think about the busyness. Think about all the things that are just hurled at us. Think about how it's too much to process, it's too much to handle, and it has a way of shutting us down. Excuse me. Think about the ways in which we play it safe, and the ways in which we stop seeing what's there. We project something, or we're seeing what used to be there. And all you have to do is look at court cases and see how bad human beings are at being eyewitnesses, to see just how much we don't pay attention, that we're not aware, that we don't really see and perceive. So if you feel like you could be sharper and you would like that, you have the desire for that, let's talk about a few ways to do that. One, and these are not in any certain order. But I'm gonna start with the Rumi quote. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself. Number one, I would say leave comfort. I don't think we can truly be less dull or become sharper in ultimate comfort. I feel like we have to leave that which we find familiar and comfortable and safe. And in doing so, there's an opportunity to become sharper. You think about, just from an evolutionary standpoint, how we feel in the safety of our own homes. Doors locked, there's law enforcement around. If they're not in our neighborhood, they're definitely in the area. There's all kinds of there's safety. We're connected through our phones, through the internet, everything. Versus we travel to a new town. We're going to do something we've never done before in a place we've never done before. Probably, especially if we've been warned, this isn't the safest place you could go to. This isn't the safest activity you could do. There's going to be a heightened awareness. And the little noises, the little creaks and settlings of our home that we don't react to, we hear a little noise in a strange environment, we're going to see who's behind us and what's going on. So take that spiritually, psychologically, intellectually, emotionally, leave what is comfortable. Rumi also said, it's not a direct quote because I can't remember exactly, but it's something like, he said, set your life on fire and seek out those who will fan the flames. If you want to be sharper, I think we have to look at our diet. There's a lot of people who, in their spiritual practice or in their health, physical practices, use fasting. Fasting is a way to sharpen. Fasting is a way to increase an awareness. If we walk around full or like stuffed and bloated all the time, we can't be sharp. We just can't. If we are subsisting on junk, garbage food, we can't be sharp. We can't be. So maybe we need to alter our diet in terms of what we're actually eating, how healthy or the portions. But also maybe we need to do some fasting. Maybe we need to do without some. But whatever it is, I mean, you can figure that out for yourself. But if you want to be sharper, I think here is an opportunity. Here's a place to look. So there's diet and what you do with that, or fasting. Then there's exercise. And again, wherever we are, I don't care what our age is. I don't care what our physical abilities or inabilities are. We can all do something. I exercised last night, and it was strenuous and it was good. And I do it, 3 to 4 times a week strenuously. And I was sharing with Denise, my wife, and Micah, my son, and Dan, my brother-in-law, who's a physical therapist, that because of what I do, I almost always have, if not an injury, and I guess they're probably not injuries because I couldn't play through injuries, but I always have something going on. For the last several weeks, I have had an issue with my right elbow. I've had an issue with my left shoulder. And for the last week, I've had a strain in my abdomen, the muscles down there. And then, of course, there's always ongoing knees and ankle issues. And when my son Micah said, because I called him up and I said, hey, we're about to play. This is one day last week. And I said, we're about to play basketball. And I said, do you have any kind of compression for your abdomen? I need something to. And he said, I don't think they make anything. He said, Dad, what you might consider is rest. Some rest. And I was like, I'm not familiar with that particular strategy, that routine of healing. I try not to rest. I try not to stop. And I was telling Denise last night, I felt good last night, the best I have in probably a month. And I said, if I rested, then maybe if I had rested 2 weeks, then 2 weeks ago, I could have felt like I did last night. Or I kept my same schedule. I kept doing everything I could do. And 4 weeks later, I'm feeling okay. Again, I'm not doing this through injuries, but there is going to be, if you're doing, and we're playing full court basketball and working out with weights and stuff, there's always going to be things. And the reason I brought this up is I'm doing what I can. And my 54-year-old body, which I am extremely grateful for, and it brings me such pleasure to get out there and play and do something I enjoy so much, like basketball and other things. But I'm doing what I'm able to do. And my 24 or 34 or even 44-year-old self wouldn't have to play it. I'd have to play through some things, but my body would heal quicker. I would have less issues. And I would have more stamina and more strength and more everything. Do what you can where you are is the point I'm saying. Next, related to this, there's your diet, there's your exercise, and there's your sleep. It's possible that some of us are sleeping too much. And if you want to be sharper, you set the alarm for a little earlier. And I have gone through times in my life, but let me say right now, I do not set an alarm. I don't live by an alarm and haven't for decades. I'm not saying there aren't times where I have an appointment or some take care of a grandchild or something that I have an alarm and get up for. But for the most part, I go to sleep when I'm sleepy and I wake up whenever I wake up, and I'm able to do my work and my routines and my schedule. That's a gift, and I appreciate it. But there have been times in my lives where, because of commitments and because of a certain spiritual longing, that I knew if I was going to fit in what mattered most, I was going to have to get up earlier, an hour or two earlier, to do what I felt I needed to do before I did what I had to do. Now, and for the last, long period of time, let me just say, I know I would still benefit if I did that, but I'm in a situation where I'm able to incorporate and do those things in my routines and schedules. But if I weren't, then I would want to set that clock and either stay up, get up earlier, stay up later. But there's also a chance, and this is probably more likely, that we're not getting enough sleep. And there are times when because I'm, again, have this great privilege and gift of setting my own schedule. And it requires discipline, and I don't miss deadlines, and I do what I have to do, and I fit it in. But the gift is the flexibility. And there are times when I get up and work for a few hours and feel like I need a nap. And for me, a nap is 10 to 20 minutes of just, closing my eyes, resetting. And I'll tell you, when I do that, most of the time, the thoughts I have as I'm falling asleep, if sometimes I'm unable to, but if I'm able to, are inspired and they relate to what I've been working on. And they're so helpful. So there's that aspect. And then if I sleep for 10 or 20 minutes, when I wake up, I'm refreshed and I'm ready to go again. Maybe if I slept more during the night, I wouldn't need that. Maybe if I consume less caffeine and slept deeper or better, I don't know. But I know that I try to listen to what I need and do it as much as I possibly can. Now, that is not true on the other end. Like there's times late at night where I know I should try to go to sleep and I postpone it, delay it because I want to keep doing what I'm doing. But anyway, look at your diet, look at your exercise, look at your sleep. Next thing I would say, if you want to be sharper, if you want change to happen, then I would say you need to do something new. Do some new things. The best way to get out of a rut is do something new, do something different, try something that you've never done before. And I'm going to tell you, if it's whatever you try that's new, chances are you're going to suck at it. And that's absolutely okay. In fact, that's really good for us. If we only do that which we're good at, we only do that which we're comfortable with, we'll never grow, we'll never expand, we'll never evolve. And so just try some new things, and maybe some things that you've never considered before. I mean, maybe things that you think, oh, I'm not going to like that, or that's not for me, that's not my thing. Give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? You confirm that it's not your thing. Like you do yoga, or you do meditation somewhere, or you do some kind of social gathering, or you do some kind of hobby. You think, I know I'm not going to like that. You may surprise yourself and you may like it, or it may confirm for you don't like it, and then go to the next thing. But do something new. And I'm not saying that in some manic state we should run around just trying new things all the time. I'm not saying that. But we should have an ongoing openness, an ongoing curiosity, an ongoing searching and seeking, and that should include trying new things. Just as importantly, to trying new things is, and again, I think it's just as important, the things that we're already doing, do them in a different way. You want to sharpen yourself, your mind, your senses, your spirit, your emotions, your psychological aspect of your being. Do something different. They experts talk about how we have these, by the patterns we have, by the practices we do, especially when we do them the same way over and over and over again, there's an automatic pilot that happens. And so we stop paying attention as much. We take the same route to work and home from work. Take the same route to the grocery store and back from the grocery store, the same route from, whatever it is. And we have these deep troughs, furrows in our brains, our neurological networks that it's just the way we do it. And the more we do them that way, the deeper that gets. That's a rut. And so if we'll do things differently, maybe you're right-handed and there's activities you can start doing with your left hand. And it's awkward and it's uncomfortable and it's not as efficient. And you think, this is crazy. It's taking more time. It'll do you good. It'll do your brain good. It'll do you good. Take a different route to where you're going. Someone like me, let's say, as a novelist, rather than writing in here in my library, my sanctuary, my writing room, my scriptorium, take that laptop and go to the park. Now, I could go to, say, a coffee shop or something. To me, that's too busy. And I could put on noise canceling headphones, but whatever, do something different. For me, going to the park or outside somewhere, writing in a different room. A lot of times I'll do that. I'll take the laptop and go in the living room. That's not this big venture out into some unknown location, but it's a different perspective. And there's been times where I'm, not quite finished my pages for the day. I have a little more to do, and Autumn comes over. And so I'll take it in the living room so she can be playing with her dollhouse and we can be interacting, but I can also be working. And so it just change it up. Whatever you're doing, do it differently. Let it be awkward. Let it be uncomfortable. Let it be unfamiliar, and it will sharpen you. Rumi says, the garden of the world has no limits except your mind. The garden of the world has no limits except your mind. To change, he says, you must face the dragon of your appetites with another dragon, the life energy of your soul. Continuing to quote Rumi, your hand opens and closes, opens and closes. If it were always a fist or always stretched open, you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding, the two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as birds' wings. So the next thing I would say to sharpen yourself is make changes. Changes. Now, we've already touched on these because everything we've talked about relates to changes, but just change our routines. Just make small changes. It doesn't have to be some big overarching, we don't have to change countries. We don't have to change jobs necessarily. We could, but I think small changes would make a big difference. So I already mentioned, like, change the way you do things. Make changes. What some of us are in desperate need of is changing friends. Now, maybe you don't need to drop any friends. Maybe you do. Maybe there are some friends that are weighing you down or pulling you in the wrong directions. But maybe it's just making some new friends, making some new connections, changing your routines. I've already mentioned. This is big. This is important. Change your mind. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but everything you think is somewhat wrong. Now, don't be offended because everything I think is somewhat wrong. Somewhat. I don't know what the percentage is, and the percentage is a lot higher than I would like for it to be in every area. But there's room for improvement in the way we think, and we should challenge our thinking. What if the thing you hold dearest, say your religious or political views, what if you challenged yourself to argue the other side, to actually take the position that is antagonistic to you, that is the antithesis of what you believe, and you make the case, you make the argument intellectually, you go through the process. How can I see what the other side is saying? How can I see they hold that conviction as much as I'm holding the opposite conviction. It can't just be that they are evil, that they are deceived, that they are wrong. It can't be that. And even though that's what they believe about me and my side, I know I'm not those things. I'm a portion of those things, but I hope they're small. They think theirs are small or non-existent. Change your mind. Make a case, make a argument for the other side. The other thing I would say is change not just what you think, but your ways of thinking. If we change our paradigm, if we change our way of critical thinking, if we change the processes and the modality of how we think, we're going to come up with new thoughts. We're going to come up with new outcomes of thinking. And so look at new ways to think. And all of these things I'm talking about, there are books on every one of these subjects that we can delve deeply into, and we can learn how to think differently and learn how to do these various things. And And of course, there's podcasts and videos, YouTube, and everything else. That we have so many resources that we can do these things. I would say this sort of relates to what I was talking about, changing your mind, or like rather than you arguing the other side, have truthful and meaningful conversations. One of the best ways we can sharpen ourselves is with other people. And especially if we're having truthful, meaningful conversations. The Hebrew Bible, one of the, I guess it's a proverb, says that iron sharpens iron. And that's what's required for one of the things that's going to sharpen us the most is someone else, someone that's going to challenge us, someone that's going to question us, someone that's going to engage with us. And we can have an exchange, an open, honest exchange, especially of differing views and ideas. It's detrimental what we're doing in living in these little echo chambers. And we're surrounded by people who are socioeconomically in our class. They are of our religion, of our race, of our culture, of our society, of our worldview, of our political and religious systems, and we're never challenged. We're never confronted. We're never so truthful, meaningful conversations. And then the next one, this is more general, but it's related. But if you want to gain sharpness, everything I'm saying relates to this, and that is look for and make more connections. What we are starving for, what we need is connection. And if it's deep and profound and a genuine, authentic human connection, then it's invaluable. And so look for opportunities to connect. I've heard people talk about whether they frame it in a religious context and they call it sin, or they frame it in a psychological context and call it, a breakdown or disillusionment or whatever it is. But that which is disconnecting has a centrifugal force that is pushing us away from each other, even pushing us away from ourselves, our true selves, versus that which is grace, or that which is mental health, that which is good, brings us together and it unites us with ourselves. That's a homogenization, an integrity of self, and then but also a connection to others in that same way. So look for connection and let iron sharpen iron. The last thing I want to say is that life at this very moment is giving each of us the opportunity to gain sharpness. If we would just embrace it instead of resist it, we'll be sharper. And so there's invitations and opportunities that we say no to that would be benefiting us, but they're outside of our routine or they're outside of our comfort. And so we say no, we resist. Life has given us opportunities to be better, to be sharper, to be deeper, to be more profound, have a richer, more fulfilling life. And we are resisting it. If we will embrace instead of resist, then life will bring to us the sharpness we need. It'll bring to us the changes. And it is continuously bringing to us the opportunities for these things, but we must embrace them, because some will be forced upon us, not change, but there'll be situations, there'll be traumas, there'll be difficulties. Life will give us plenty of opportunities, to for change. But even the big life altering ones don't necessarily have to change us. They can cause us to become more entrenched in our ways of thinking, our ways of doing things. I want to be sharper. I don't want to be as dull as I am. And I want to try my best to lessen the things in my life that dull me and increase the things that will make me sharper, more aware, more alert, more awake, getting more out of this incredible gift of life that I've been given. But I know it's going to take effort on my part. It's going to take me doing some of these things that we've mentioned today. Thoughts, questions, comments, other things you think we can do to become sharper? Things you disagree with that I said?
Mike,
I think you just froze.
I think this is a fantastic as a program for groups of people. Oh, sorry about that.
Can you say that again? You froze.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know if that's my Wi-Fi or what's going on, but that was a fantastic presentation. I think you need to like package that up and bring it to people. That's one that is especially good for people who are working on community skills of being in community, people who are coming out of a situation that has moved them from their place of comfort. This is all very useful information. So I hope that's something that that you can bring to other people, not just us three, because I think it's information that's useful to the whole of society, probably. Thank you.
It's a very good point that, I was talking about individually how we can do these things, but groups function as an entity, an individual almost. And so it definitely applies to a group as well as us as individuals.
Hey, Michael, great topic. I love all the Remy quotes. That's one of my favorite one, the one you started off with that yesterday I was clever. So I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise and I'm changing myself. I'm paraphrasing, but I really relate to that because it mirrors some of my own journey that, I was idealistic and I wanted to change the world. And then I found out that you can't change other people. So you need to focus on really changing yourself. And maybe by doing that, that can spark change around you. But when you were talking about all these different things, I don't know if this relates, but here's what came to mind for me. That acronym HALT. And I was just thinking that, it's just an easy way to look at what I need, what I can do. And in a way, I guess that is, sharpening my self-care, So yeah, am I hungry? And I was thinking, eat healthy mostly. We don't want to go too far anyway, angry, feel the feelings, let them go, maybe journal about them. Lonely, connect with others. You talked about that, connection with others. Tired, rest. I had to laugh at that when you were talking about that, your son's comment. Maybe rest would help. And then S is can stand for a lot of things. Am I scared? Am I sad? Am I too serious? Am I sick? And there's all kinds of things we can do to help ourselves with that. And some of these things that you talked about. When I'm too serious, I'm thinking, try new things, do something fun, do something adventurous.
Right.
And that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. That's great. Really appreciate both of you. Once you share that, that's good stuff. If we are in a state of depression or really battling some kind of mental illness, physical illness, all of these things become more challenging, more difficult to do. But I feel like wherever we are, we can start incrementally practicing some of these things. But it may be that if there's a chemical imbalance, there may have to be some medication, something to get us to just a place where we can begin to start. If there's a sickness, if there's fatigue, some of the things you mentioned here, or if we have these underlying anger issues, whatever it is, they're probably for those certain conditions, there's going to have to be work done before we can really even start. But for the most part, I think each of us could start wherever we are on these. So, well, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. It is my intention to become sharper and to practice these things. And this is just a reminder to me that these are the things I need to be doing, that I need to be practicing. And I need reminders. It's just so easy to get on autopilot. It's so easy to get over comfortable. It's so easy to maximize that which brings us pleasure and minimize or avoid that which brings us pain or discomfort, even not even pain, discomfort. And there's some golden opportunities. There's some great opportunities there. And so I just need to be reminded of this. And I hope it was helpful for y'all. Have a great week, and I hope to see y'all next week. Take
Have
care.
a great week.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.